My name is Kelly Kearney, and I'm with Starry Constellation Magazine, and I am so excited to talk to all you guys because I love the show. I thought it was great.
Yay.
Thank you, Kelly.
Absolutely. Let's start with Ken. I have a question for you about your tarot cards. You communicate through tarot cards, and you're kind of like on the show, a little bit like a therapist for both the living and the dead, I noticed. So, where did your interest in the paranormal come from?
It came from growing up in a haunted house and
Oh.
being petrified to go to sleep at night and having my granny who said, "It's okay, babe. A granny will help you through it." And being psychically developed by her for a long time. And then her teaching me the craft of tarot and using the tarot in the way of not just predicting vague drama, but how do we change it? How do we change our lives? How do we become better people? How do we move spirit forward? Understand spirit, discern spirit, and the approach to that through tarot is to my knowledge not done by anybody else. And I'm incredibly grateful that I get to do it because I get to have this experience. But yeah, so it all started when I was a kid. So 39 years of.
So did you feel like you were a little bit like the cast therapist for both the living and the dead? Because it felt like that for me. You were kind of hand holding during, tarot card readings and really kind of getting the emotions out of people.
I don't think I consider myself a therapist. And the honest truth is that we all were each other's therapists for a minute, at least at one point or the other. We all kind of went to each other and held each other and try to cope with this unique experience. Nobody else in our lives would understand. We were there for each other in the moment in filming. I just did what I always do, which is try to understand where someone's at, whether living or dead, and then get them to the other side of that. So thank you for thinking that, though. Oh my gosh, 2 thumbs up for that compliment. Jeez Louise.
Well, I have a similar question for Juju because I felt like as the witch, you maybe had some responsibility to feel like you were protective of the group. Did you feel like that you were sort of their protector a little bit?
Yes, I did, because they often refer to me as the bodyguard. So I did feel like I was the protector, but I think that's how I show up generally in life. Like, that's kind of how my friends even see me. They're just kind of like, if Juju's here, I feel like nothing bad can happen to us. I always kind of get cast into that, like, something about me is safe, which is, that's cool. That's great. I want people to feel safe and be safe around me. And so, yeah, I did feel that, but I also like have the spiritual knowledge and tools to keep myself and others safe. So that's kind of that's part of my gifts is protection. And so I'm glad that was shown, because that's a very real. I do active work around protection, so I'm glad that was able to be translated to the screen.
Yeah, I actually love the episode. I love the clown episode. I loved all the episodes. They were so fun and kind of, shocking and emotional in a lot of ways. Let's talk about to Eric, Rob Eric. What did this like gay Scooby Doo idea? Where did it come from? Who came up with it? Who chopped it around?
So Kristen's, I got a call from our agents that Kristen Stewart wanted to meet about an idea she had. Wasn't sure, is this a good idea? And so we got on the phone with Kristen, and she said, it's never been a gay paranormal show, anything set with like an LGBTQIA cast. And, we produced Queer Eye and created Queer Eye. And so we were like, you're right, this is fantastic. And the way that my company approaches all of our programming is to do something unique with a twist to it, and particularly anything in our community, because we see things with a different perspective, and so it makes it unique to a wider audience. And we were 100% in. And Gay Scooby Doo, my producing partner David, he was like, it's like Gay Scooby Doo, and I'm like, exactly, like this is really fun. And then we cast the show and found the most incredible ghost hunting team. And you can't even call them ghost hunters, because I think they sort of rise above that, because I think a lot of times, and Juju said this on the very first one in Tonopah for the Clown Motel, most of these shows are about provoking a spirit and hunting the spirit. And we didn't do that. Our team approached it in a way where it's like, let's have a conversation, find out why the spirit is here. How can we help the person that is being haunted? And Juju, by the way, is like under like she's being very humble about her ability to clean the scene. It was like you didn't leave until Juju had something that was smoking around you and cleaning you off from like the residue of what we had just experienced. But this team had such heart to it and humor and approached everything in sort of a loving manner and not that hunting, trying to just provoke the spirit kind of way. And I think that's what makes it so special.
I definitely thought the heart and the humor came through in the series, and it maybe took a little bit of the fear out of each episode. I mean, obviously, spirits are they give us some fearful moments, but I felt more like we were more connected as I watched it. I have one last question here for Juju. Roz was afraid to sleep in the haunted house. Ken is afraid of clowns. What were you afraid of while filming the show?
My eyelash being crooked. That was about it. My lash is not being on. I hate to seem like I'm not fearful because I feel like I get that, like I'm not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of things, but just the paranormal, the spirit world, that's where I feel alive. Like that's where I feel less afraid than I am with humans. So I don't mind the haunted. I was not really that afraid of much besides like, I hope my blush is on right while we're filming. If I'm being
that answer so much. Ken, I have a question for you. Why are clowns, the paranormal, and ghosts so queer coded? Why do queer people feel such a solidarity with that? And why would queer people maybe feel like this show is for them?
It harkens back a bit to what Eric was just saying, that in the queer community, we do see things from a different lens. We're also viewed differently. We're used to being misunderstood. We're used to not being heard. And I think that a lot of that goes to, the paranormal scene and clowns and being, it's just, it all kind of goes around the same thought, which is we aren't well understood. And for that reason, I think things like Halloween for the gay community are our time, because we get to we get to encompass that and we live that life. So yeah, it all comes from the queer perspective of being misunderstood and not being heard, which is everything that a spirit sometimes faces in their afterlife through a haunting. They're not really being heard. They're not really being understood. So the connection there's real. It's very real.